5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve. This is Live with Neve. Iconic musicians, comedians, and entertainers of all types. Interviews, comedy, and God knows what else. Hold on!
All right. Here we are. Welcome to Live with Neve. We are here high in Highlands, overlooking beautiful Manhattan. The Atlantic Ocean is blue and looking cold. It is very cold. We have a special guest today who I know you guys are going to enjoy. I have the one and only Leland Sklar. I guess if you don't know his name, you don't really have to come on the show. We're proud to have him here. Leland's history of music is just so broad. I have a list next to me, and everything I grew up listening to, the man played on, and I respect that, and I'm thrilled and honored to have him here with us. So my friend Julie Bruno and co-host will be in and out in the conversation. Hi, Julie. How are you today?
Hey, Neil. Good. How are you?
I'm excellent. So you ready to talk some bass?
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's do it. This is exciting.
It's almost like I could go the old Saturday Night Live skit. Nice bass. Oh, it's bass. Nice bass. That's it.
Dude.
All right. Well, without any further introduction, let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend.
I was thinking more of the Bass-O-Matic.
Oh, we break it. I have one right here. We can have great bass. Absolutely.
How are
bass.
you?
I'm
How are
excellent.
you guys doing?
Really,
Good.
very nice.
Great.
How about you?
Great. Doing good. I'm going crazy like usual. It's been one of the most surreal years of our lives, and
yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is crazy watching what's going on. But I'm of the mind. I'm just going to do what I keep doing every day. Do the best I can. Treat people good, and things will work out. It's kind of above my pay grade, and it's just like nobody wants to hear what I got to say. I'm just a hack drummer guy who likes to talk music.
No, I came on here to hear what you're all about. I already know about me.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what I'm all about. I'm
busy. I'm busy right now. So
this is going to be great fun, man.
You finally make your match here, Neil.
Hey, sometimes we have guys who come on and I have to pull it out of them. But I have a feeling I won't have that problem with you.
Treat this like a colonoscopy.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? I knew for a brief instant how Michael Jackson felt like every night last time I had one. All I remember is the nurse telling me to count back. I woke up and I was like, waking up in Michael's playhouse going, did I go to sleep? Why am I here? Is this my beautiful house?
I'll tell you, my favorite thing was when I went in and had my colonoscopy. At the end of it, they gave me photographs of my colon.
Yes.
Yeah, which is really great. It's kind of like, your family tree and all that. But the thing was, at the time I was working with Toto, and they had a network that Scott Page had put together for them. And none of them were really interested in doing anything. And I wasn't in the band, but I ended up doing the whole network. I answered everybody's questions. I did all of that stuff. And then after my colonoscopy, I posted my pictures on the network.
Way to go.
And I said, a lot of you people think I'm full of shit. I said, well, here's proof that I'm not.
I had a boss.
I thought the doctor was going to be going through some kind of like a weird archaeological dig after like 50 years of road food and stuff. And they went, man, you're clean as a whistle. Come back in 10 years.
Gotta love that. Hell yeah, man. Are you by any chance, are you a vegetarian or anything like that?
Well, I haven't eaten red meat in about 10 years.
Okay.
At this point. I eat a little bit of chicken. And fish, that's kind of it. But I'm more veggie and other protein oriented things.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, that explains why you're just running like a fine, well-tuned machine, I guess.
Oh man, man.
I have to tell you, that's a glorious, here we are, guys. We have the chance to talk about music and all kinds of cool shit. And because we're both kind of older guys, we're sitting here having, it's like we had our colonoscopy, and next we're going to talk about, I don't know, my prostate's swelling up like a grapefruit. God damn, I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yours too?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, shit, it just ain't getting the old kicker kicking like it used to.
I
Anyway,
have zero clue what you guys are talking about.
And
this
that's
is
the
God's
best thing. That's the best thing you could say.
She's had a sheltered life. I do my best to protect her from the various forces of darkness.
Okay, but we could talk about chick things too, and I'd be game for it.
No, I'm not one of
come
those
on.
chicks.
I just love this. Lee, I want to have you back on every week just to do we'll do sick moments with Lee Sklar.
Oh, man.
Yes, can we?
That'll sell it'll sell as many as your books, man. I guarantee.
I'm totally there with you on that one.
So tell us
so for our guests, I'm going to ask you, how about your new book? Give everybody a shout out about your new book and tell us about it.
Well, it was first off, I'll give a little preface to all of this. When the pandemic started, like so many other players, I had a full year's work ahead of me that evaporated like a fart in a hurricane. And, all of a sudden you're just going, well, what the hell am I going to do now? Because I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit around. And the first thing I ended up doing was by accident, starting this YouTube channel that I've done, which has gone completely berserk. And I've posted at least one video a day, every day since the pandemic began.
Yes.
But in 2004, we were on Phil Collins's first Final Farewell tour, and they had hired a bass tech for me on the tour, and I never really had a tech before on the road. I was always kind of one of these guys that did all of my own gear, and he came in super qualified. I think he had been on the road with some band where the bass player had like 10 basses and wanted new strings every night and stuff. And I had 2 basses, and I changed strings like once a year, kind of thing. So he ended up becoming like a general gopher for everybody and stuff. So we had these running gags going because he was so overqualified for me. At the end of the tour, there was talk that Phil was going to retire. And I thought, we had like 100 people on the road. It was a big, massive tour. And I thought I may never see a lot of these people again because they were from Europe. They were from other parts of the country, all the crew people. So I thought I'm going to just take a picture of everybody and have a little folder for my memory book. As long as my memory was enough where I would know where to go and look for it. But fate would have it that the first guy I go up to is Steve. His nickname was Chinner. So the first guy I go up to is Chinner, and he's sitting at his laptop doing something. And I said, "Hey, Chinner, give me a smile." And he just sits there and he goes, and I went, "Oh, this is kind of cool." So I went and got Phil and Tony Smith as manager. I got all the band, all the crew, the truck drivers, the caterers, ended up with about 120 pictures. Everybody flipping me off. And then I put it away. Yeah. And a couple of years later, when I went on the road with Toto, I thought, that was fun. Maybe I'll do that. And so I got all the guys in Toto, all the crew and stuff. And then suddenly people were coming up and giving me the finger. It took on a life of its own. And I got up to where I have over 12,000 photographs of people giving me the finger.
Sounds like, do you have a similar photograph to Gene Simmons' collection?
Oh, mine's so much. No. Mine's much cooler.
Yes.
So.
I'm sure it is. I've seen part of it.
No, let's not even go there.
I was kidding.
But what happened was there's an artist where I live in Pasadena, California, and there's an artist out here named Kenton Nelson, who's a world famous artist. And he would have these get-togethers at his house, and he lives about a mile from me. And I went to one of these functions at his house, and there was a guy there nicknamed Blue who had a company that did all fine artwork. And we sat and talked all evening about the idea of this, and he went, "Do it. You have time. Let's do it." and I put together like a little, external drive with the 12,000 pictures in it, and gave it to him. And he spent about 2 weeks or a month just kind of going through pictures to get a feel for this. And then we honed it down to 6,000 pictures, and we put this book together. And it's a massive book. It's 6 pounds. It's got this beautiful padded cover on it, and it's everybody you could possibly imagine, from Charlie Watts to Yo-Yo Ma to Jack Nicholson to Lawrence Fishburne, Jane Seymour, all the musicians.
Wow.
But it's also people on the street. So I didn't designate who's who. So people are writing to me going, is that Art Garfunkel in there? Or is that Sean Penn? Is that Jeremy Pivens? Every time I would meet up with people, and I've got big groups of people, and I can show you.
Cool. Yes, I was just going to ask.
Sure.
Can you?
I can't wait to get a copy myself. It is on my list of things to get. Gotta have one.
Excuse me while I whips this out.
I like this guy.
Where have you been all of my life, sir? Where have you been?
Waiting for you.
There you go.
Do that.
Okay, so here's the cover.
There it is. What a great shot.
And then when you flip the book over.
Excellent. Very well done.
But it is, the cover, it's padded, it's soft.
Right.
But when I'll try to, just when you open the book, the first pages are
unbelievable.
Goddamn cameras are always backwards. But let me.
I know.
I just saw Scott Hamilton, the Olympic skater. I love this guy. There's Brent McKenzie.
Okay.
One of the Flight of the Conchords out of New Zealand.
Right.
Really talented guy. Hold on.
Nice.
I'll find a couple more in here. I'll show you one of my absolute favorites. This lady works at Warwick Instruments in Germany, and she does all the staining on the.
Oh, I love it.
I said she's down about a quart.
Beautiful.
Oh man, that's great. She's gonna have to check somebody's oil again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know Andy Irving from Warwick, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I love Andy.
Yeah, Andy's an old friend. Here's this is one of my favorite pages. I did the Grammys with. There's Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard and Christofferson. And
wow,
then on this page, it's my parents.
All right.
Oh my God.
So, your dad, he's another beard guy. He's up in the wild north, or is he in LA now?
Well, my folks are both gone now, but they were living. They lived for about 30 some years in Guadalajara, and then ended up in their later years moving up to Spokane.
Okay.
But I'll just try to find.
These are great. I love them. Thank you for sharing.
I really.
There we got Billy Gibbons.
Oh, we got the Reverend Billy.
Oh, there we go.
Oh man,
there's Jack Black.
Jack Black.
There's Jeremy Pivens, Ray Benson from Asleep at the Wheel.
There's the boys.
Keith.
Yep, this bass player.
Oh man, it's a.
Dude, that's awesome.
I'm finishing off my European orders today.
Excellent.
With COVID, I've ended up doing everything myself. I'm like the plate spinner on Ed Sullivan, where you're just trying to keep everything going.
Yes, juggling.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's been a challenge because I've packed up and signed about 1,600 books so far. And been shipping them, and it was cool. LA Times just gave it a rave review yesterday in their book section. So
excellent.
Congratulations.
So it's a trip, but during this period, I'm just trying to find things to be creative and engaged, and so between the YouTube channel, the book, and then our band, the Immediate Family. I'm busier than I've ever been, but the thing I dream of most is getting back on the road.
Are you gonna? I have to mention, you brought up the Immediate Family, and I love the record. George Gruhl actually sent me before it came out. George hooked me up, and then I was actually running you guys like a month or several months ago. He sent me something that was written in England, and I just started telling all my friends. I was like, "You got to check this out. This is really cool." You know,
it's great, and we've got a finished album that was supposed to be out in November. That nobody's heard any of that, because what we've been putting out is EPs of other material from the band, from previous stuff, and but hopefully in the first third of the year we'll get the new album out. And we're going to go in the studio, and actually we got a great label called Quarto Valley Records, and they're incredibly supportive of the band. And they said, well, guys are still writing your asses off. Go in the studio and do another album. So we're going to go cut another album again this year, about the time that this one comes out. And we're working with Denny Tedesco, who did the Wrecking Crew movie, and he's doing a documentary film about us. And that hopefully that'll line up with the album release.
Oh, that'd be great.
Lots going on, you know.
That's good.
And I'm naked from the waist down right now.
All right, everybody out there, you heard it first here on Live with Neve. I also have to mention, I'm also naked from the waist down. I'm supporting Lee in his endeavor.
Don't say you're supporting me when I say I'm naked from the waist down.
It's like this.
Yeah, like
that's a frightening visual I'm getting. My visuals just went out the window. I like you, buddy, but not that much. At any rate, I had so many questions because I was looking through the list of stuff you've played.
Well, ask one.
I'm curious. Who was, of all the people you've played with all over the decades, who was the one that was just most surprising to you as a human being, like as a person, that you went, wow, this is not the usual
there's been a number of them. You know, like there would be times when you like in the old days of like with Steppenwolf, and you'd see John Kay, and it was always with the sunglasses and leathers, and you think the guy might have an attitude. And we did his album called Sportin' Life, his solo album, and he was one of the nicest people I ever worked with in the business. I'll tell you, one of the nicest people I've ever worked with is Charlie Watts.
Oh, I'll bet.
Oh, man.
He's a gentleman, yeah.
Yeah, I did a project that was for an artist from South Africa, I believe she was, and they had 3 drummers on it. And one of them was Simon Phillips, one was Charlie, and I can't remember. The other one was like another major like rock shred drummer. And what's going to happen was I was going to do all the tracks, and each of those guys was going to do 3 or 4 songs. And Charlie said he would do it if he could be the first one, because he didn't want to have to follow either of the other 2 guys. But he spent the whole week hanging out in the studio. We did it at Simon's studio, and I just fell in love with the guy. He was the nicest guy to talk to. He was delightful. And then they changed some drum heads, and I said, "Hey, Charlie, man, could you sign a drum head for me?" And well, oh yeah, sure. And he signs this drum head, writes to Lee, blah 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 blah, Charlie Watts, and hands it to me. And then he grabs it back and he writes the Rolling Stones on it. He says, "In case you forget." And I said, "I don't think I'm going to forget."
What a guy! What a guy! That's really cool.
Yeah, but I feel really fortunate that most of the people I've worked with in this business are really great people. There's been a few pant loads that come along, and and you just got to deal with it when it happens. But and I've gone in where there's a lot of artists that have had this reputation of being really hard ass and tough to work with, like Barbara Streisand and people like that. Man, we got on great. I've done a lot of projects. I did Evergreen with Barbara and stuff. And I think with somebody like her, she's a consummate pro. She shows up at the studio absolutely prepared, ready to work. And if somebody shows up and they're not ready and they're slacking, she'll call them out. And then they walk away going, "What a bitch, what a bitch." Well, she's not a bitch. You're lame. Yeah. You should have been prepared.
I agree.
And so, that happens a number of times where I hear about people that get, kind of ragged on like they're, a pain in the ass to work with.
Right.
I've never had the problem because I go in and I respect them and I work hard.
Absolutely. Right. Well, that's half of, I think, in all musical people. Most of the musicians I know, whether they're at the bottom or at the top, are just really good people, and they're very friendly and easy to approach. And I think that's the way it should be. I mean, we have some kind of I think we give something to the world that it needs desperately. Some time and peace of mind and
herpes.
herpes, quaaludes and whiskey. I mean, all those things.
I'm just glad, Julie, that you weren't eating soup or anything just now, because it would have been like one of those
It would have been
no's.
Spew City.
Totally
Yeah,
would have. Totally would have.
definitely.
That's okay. It's happened before.
I'm gonna switch course. I have to ask you. One
Yeah.
of the things that I have in common with you is I am a Basset Hound guy. I've
Oh,
had
fabulous.
several of them in my
Aw.
life. I've had a couple of pairs, braces over the years.
Yeah.
I don't currently have one because where I live, it's just not really functional to have a dog in my neighborhood. But that said, I didn't realize they were your dogs the first time somebody sent me a picture of them. And then I went, oh, it's Lee's dogs. That's really cool. Because I have to tell you, I was like friends with your dogs, I think, before I was reaching out to you.
Well, I think that's the best thing. It's like my neighborhood. I know all the dogs. I don't know most of the owners.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
and the boys I
same
have
way.
right now, Marcello and Rossano, are my 8th and 9th Bassets, and they're
Wow.
brothers. And my last ones, Chumley and Mr. Peabody, were brothers
Right.
also.
I love those two. They were just so beautiful.
They were heaven. They were such,
Aw.
and I miss them. I miss all of them. You know, when you move on with new ones, nothing's replacing anything. You're just, it's an
No.
addendum. And
Right.
and these two knuckleheads are about 1.5 years now, and they're just as funny as they could be. And I love the temperament of a Basset Hound.
Absolutely.
You know, they're mostly couch potatoes.
Mine, when my children were small, my son we'd be just hanging out in my studio in the music room, and he'd have the dog on the floor and the dinosaur army all scattered out, and he'd be like, Hannibal's a dinosaur, he's gonna crush all the little dinos. And then I'd be like, wow, that's great. Hambo's just like clump 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 through, and he flops on the side. And he'd like wag his tail for a while. And then my son would be like rolling him over, and he goes, Dad, I'm rolling Hannibal. And Hannibal's just like, oh, okay, I don't know what we're doing, but as long as there's some food involved, it's cool. Oh, I just love him to death.
It's great. It's just great. That for me has always been the hardest part of touring. Was just missing my pets. And like a lot of times I'll be walking down the street somewhere and I see somebody walking a dog, and I just run up and I go, I'm not insane. Here's a picture of me and my dogs. I miss my dogs. Can I pet your dog?
Pet your dog. Yeah, that's so cool, man. I feel the same way. I have 2 cats right now, and I just love them to death. You know, I won't go into my problems, but I was in the hospital for quite a while. And when I got out and had the cat, and then we got another cat, it just like kept me through recovery, getting better every day. Just have somebody to come over and look at you and go, you're all right. You're a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's like for me, when I go in a studio, if the studio has a dog, man, the whole vibe of the session is better. Like the dog maybe has a dog pad laying underneath the console, and it's just chilling out in there, and it's enjoying itself. The people my heart goes out to is people that are quarantined during this pandemic that don't have like a pet or something.
Right.
You know, I know a lot of people that are like live in bachelor apartments that have nobody's there. There's no pet, and they're kind of losing it.
Because I mean, to have that fuzzy that relieves the stress, it raises your oxytocin levels and everything, releases that.
Absolutely.
You know? And it raises their levels as well. And I highly recommend it.
It's heaven. It's heaven. I'm much better with animals than people.
Me too. Same here.
Well, I am too. And I think that's a good thing. I always judge a man's character by how he treats animals or people below his stature. You know, there's a lot of people who just think they're full of all their enthusiasm for themselves and don't give a fig about anybody else. And they just turn me off. Exactly. I'm not a quiet guy, as you can tell, but when I have people like that, I just immediately kind of they're not in my world. I don't need that kind of bullshit floating around. And
it says a lot. It says a lot.
Absolutely.
It does.
So we're going to go way, way back. What was it like playing with the Doors?
Well, what happened was I did the album that they did after Jim Morrison passed away.
Oh, okay.
So I forget what it was called, Full Moon or something like that. So we did some tracks on that, but I never met Jim. They had him in the studio, but he was kind of decomposing at that point.
Right.
So they sent him on, but No, it was great though. I mean, I became friends with, Robbie and Ray and the guys in there.
Right.
And it was really fun. But I remember seeing the Doors playing. LA was such a fabulous hotbed for clubs and stuff back in the 60s. And you would go see shows with, the Sons of Champlin and Canned Heat and Sly and the Family Stone and Mothers of Invention and all these Tim Buckley and all these people. But yeah, so I worked with them after Jim had passed away. So, but it's there on the resume.
Sure. Well, I can sit. I don't even have to look through the list really, because I could just take a dartboard and kind of go some of my favorite music. I loved your work with Lyle Lovett.
Oh man,
partially because I love Lyle and I just think he's such a cool guy. And his lyrics, when people used to ask me, they'd say, "Man, Lyle Lovett, he's one horse-faced guy, and I can't imagine Julia Roberts marrying him." And I said, what you're not getting is she doesn't looking at him because of his features or his face. It's his mind. Yeah. And obviously there's something going on between them. Yeah. And it's like, I can just tell. I'd love to sit down and have a beer. I don't even drink anymore, but I'd love to just sit and talk with him.
He's great. He's wonderful. And there was a joke going around at the time they were together, and they're going, Lyle Lovett and Julia Roberts? I mean, he could have had anybody.
Good one.
I love it.
But I just talk. I mean, Lyle's in the book. Lyle's in the book.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, let me show you his picture. You'll love this.
Yeah,
I can't wait. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I just was watching you guys recording the new stuff and really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, that was really fun.
It looks like, the session like that, I'm just sitting there going, God, I wish I was playing drums at this session, because it just looks like it's a good time. Yeah. And I just love Lyle. I mean, the guy is...
Oh, here's a good picture. This is from the session I was talking about. Hold on one sec.
Sure, yeah. Take your time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's Charlie. Look at his great tweed coat.
Oh man, the dude is styling.
Absolutely, he is definitely styling.
Here's God damn there's John Goodman.
Oh, right. Boy, he has lost so much weight.
He's lost a ton of weight, man.
Good on him. Good on him.
Hold on one sec here.
He's a good-looking man.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm perusing.
Oh,
goddamn books got too many pictures.
I'm going to have one just so I can set it on my coffee table. It's like the perfect size for that kind of thing.
Have a strong coffee table.
Yeah, man.
Oh, here's a good one here. There's Jeff Beck.
All right, there he is.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's perfect.
I was just talking to a friend of mine about meeting him, and it was a pretty funny story. They snuck backstage, and they had guitar with them and a bunch of other stuff, and they're standing outside the dressing room at the Beacon, and they get told, Jeff's not seeing anybody tonight. Well, then this older guy comes walking in. And here in New York, back in the day, you'd see him everywhere. Les Paul, he didn't know it was Les Paul at the moment, but they got a chair and they put it in the hallway and said, well, Les is going to come in a little bit. But then they went inside and closed the door. So by the time they got inside, my buddies were chatting up, Les. And bottom line is, Les asked them if they would mind to pick up the chair and carry him in like a Roman emperor. Like pick him up. And I met Les. He was a really funny and a wonderful guy. Yeah. I mean, I met him and was so excited. It was like 1992, and I just graduated recording and engineering. And I met him at a party at the Sequential Circuits party at AES. And it was great because it turned into such a nice thing, an invite to his place, and just a wonderful man. And I mean, I had to thank him profusely for inventing the electric guitar, inventing multi-track.
Little things like that.
Little things like that. But he said they got in, and apparently everybody thought that those guys were with Jeff or with Les. And so Jeff's signing their mouse pad, the guitar, my friend who's a killer guitar player. And I love the story because it's, it's like rock and roll. Nowadays, you get thrown out in an instant. Oh, yeah. In the old days, we'd do all kinds of,
It was loose.
Yes.
Well, here you go.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, he's in the hospital.
Yeah.
What was that about? Oh, no.
No, he's okay. And then here's Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh,
Oh,
I love it.
hell
I love
yeah,
it. Billy
man.
Bob's great.
I
That's
love Billy,
great.
man. I love hanging with. Well, I met him. I did 2 albums with Andy Griffith,
Oh,
and
no kidding.
and the first one we did, he actually won the contemporary gospel album that year, and he brought the guitar that he used to play on the show, and he played guitar.
Oh,
Wow.
And the best line that came out of the whole session, I mean, I sat there pinching myself the whole time, freaking out. It's like
yeah, sure.
I mean, it's Andy Griffith who's sitting next
Exactly.
to
I
you.
mean,
In the same way when I did B.B. King's 80th birthday album, I'm sitting with B.B. going, shit, it's B.B. King. Don't suck, please.
right.
But Andy at one point looked over and he said, he had this beautiful thick white hair, and he said, who would have known I'd still have all this white hair and Opie'd be bald?
Yeah, right.
Poor Ron.
Is definitely bald.
Poor Ron
That's great.
is always wearing his hat. I know.
Yeah, he's. That's. I have to say, I worry about it sometimes, but then I already shaved my head for a band, and after that, I know what I look like. Had a goatee. I look like every other jail criminal guy.
Yeah, I just do a headstand and I look like Don King.
I love it. Actually, that would be a picture that would be great. Get you in some inversion boots and have you hang upside down. We snap a picture of you.
I think I did one picture. I forget. It might have been me and Tony Levin did an ad for something. And I think I put my beard over his head like a toupee.
I love it. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned him. I just saw Jerry Murata a couple of weeks ago. Cool. And we were talking about Tony and his amazing abilities. What a great guy.
Oh, I mean, beyond being just the coolest guy, I mean, his musicianship is like, he's one of my absolute heroes. I love Tony, man. He's a great player and a great hang. And I love his stick fingers that he does, where he hooks the sticks on his fingers. And we all did there's the Rock Walk in Hollywood at the Guitar Center, and it's all like Grauman's Chinese. So a bunch of bass players came in there, Larry Graham and Tim Bogert, and they had us all come down and do our hands in the cement. And he did his hand with the stick fingers on it. And I thought, somebody's going to come in and look at this and go, what the fuck is that guy's hand? Because these two fingers are like that long,
50 years from now in the future, somebody's going to walk by and see that and be like, what the hell? Is this guy some alien from Area 51 or something? Right?
Exactly. So it's a great shtick. But he uses them really amazingly too.
Oh, yeah. I've seen him with Peter a couple of times and just, I think it's my third time. And every time I saw them, I just, his show, I remember Phil saying, because I talked to him once and he said, well, I come out and Pete calls me up and he tells me what he's doing. And he goes kind of like, wow, that's kind of cool. And then he sits back and realizes what an amazing, human Peter is. And, I mean, the guy,
he's great.
He really is an amazing guy. And all I could say is you have so many great players and things you've done. And I did like in your discography, you play all kinds of shit. I
like to work. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's like, it's always funny, like when somebody comes up to me, like they start talking music and they go, do you know who was it that played bass on Billy Cobham's Spectrum? And I look at them, I go,
they ask you that? No,
you. Yeah. I go, yeah, it was me. And they go,
that was one of the first times I actually heard you. I was a little 16, 15, 14-year-old jazz fanatic. And I heard that record and I was like, just fucking ate me up. And I was like a kid. And I've met Billy a couple of times, just a god-awful great drummer. I mean,
oh, yeah. Ridiculous.
His technical dexterity is just mind-blowing. And he's not getting young. The guy's getting better with age. He's like Yoda or something.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the coolest thing was when we went out and did a 30th anniversary tour of Spectrum, because we cut it in 73 and in 2000, and we did the whole album in 2 days. It's like one take of everything. So, I mean, it's like was raw. So he called me and he said, do you want to go gig it, 30 years later? And it was Gary Husband who was going to play keyboards. And, Oh God, I'll remember. I can't believe I'm blanking on the guitar player.
Oh, shit! I'm trying to remember in my head.
He,
If I
he
remember.
plays with Marcus Miller.
Okay.
Um,
Some
um,
a New York guy.
yeah. I'll remember it. I'll call you in
That's
the wee
cool.
hours of the morning.
Oh, that's all right.
But
Yeah, it'll come back.
but the coolest thing is we were playing BB King's Club in New York, and
Mm-hmm.
and Billy seemed nervous that night, and I finally looked over and I said, "What's going on, man?" I mean, you're nervous. He goes, "My mom's here."
Oh,
And man,
wow.
it was just so great that,
No.
it doesn't matter how old you are, man. When
Absolutely.
mom's in the room, all of a sudden, you're not swearing anymore. You're trying to be cool. You don't want to screw
Yeah.
up. And it
My mom is like the best mom in the world as far as nurturing a musician. She put up with a lot from me, and
I can't
when
imagine.
you have a 7-year-old kid who wants to play drums, that in itself, allowing that, and she
Yeah.
supported me over the years, and I don't have millions of bucks, but I have a hell of a lot of great memories. I've met some amazing people. And when I die, I'm not going to sit and count my money. So I don't really care. It's like this show. It just started because I'm like you. I can't sit around. I'll go out of
Yeah.
my mind. And
Same here.
I'm a recovering alcoholic, as they say, recovering. And I just don't, I don't need that kind of shit in my life where
Yeah. You've got too
uh,
cool a shirt to have anything else going on.
man, my shirts are the coolest. I got to tell
They
you, I
really
love these
are.
shirts.
He has some really cool ones. He wore this one
Yeah.
especially for you.
I always joked. I said, "Well, what's his face bought all of them? Dwight. He bought all the nudies from everybody and
Well,
raised the price of the vintage."
I'll tell you, between Dwight and Marty Stewart,
Yeah,
Marty, man, I mean, we would be in the studio doing him. He'd show up at 10 in the morning, look like he was ready to film a video. His hair was
no,
perfect. He had the whole regalia on.
Wow.
right, right. They got to
Fuck.
add 20 pounds to his weight, just all the
Yeah.
rhinestones and shit,
Yeah, no kidding. But
So-
nudies used to be out here in North Hollywood. I used to go
Did,
by there all the time and
Did
check
you
out.
ever have an issue? Did anybody ever ask you, every time I see you, you look just like you do now? Just
Yeah.
Elise showed up. Have you ever had anybody like, I know you played some stuff with Michael Jackson. It was in the profile. It didn't say what.
Actually, I did something with the Jackson 5.
Okay.
But those profiles, I don't know who the hell writes them. They say
Right.
I think it mentions in there that I also did something with the Bee Gees, and I never played with the Bee Gees.
Who
So
knows where they?
but it's easier just to let it slide than to try to change things
Right.
and all that.
I guess here's an odd question.
No,
What is
really?
like yeah, well, I think so. I try to, you've been interviewed by so many people that I figure you've probably answered this shit so many times. Oh my, you're so sweet.
Wow, that's damn sexy.
Oh boy, isn't he? He's just so special.
No,
Yes,
yeah, I took the time in the pandemic to get some collagen.
Yeah, that's smart. Good thinking.
You come on, man. I'll be looking like Wanda in living color. I'll be ready to go.
Oh my God,
man.
Jim Carrey with a curling iron that he would
Oh
put
God.
his lips on.
Oh
to
yeah,
make,
that
they're
show was
so
probably the
crazy.
best comedy show
Funniest
of the past 3 decades. I mean, late night television back then was fairly bland, I'll say. Now there was bright spots, but when they came out with that show, I was just I watched it all the time, every time, laughed my ass off.
Yeah.
And
Fireman Bill or what?
Fireman Bill, right? I pop him up on YouTube. He's just such. Have you ever met Jim Carrey?
Oh yeah. No, Jim's great. We actually had years ago a costume Halloween party, and it was before anybody really knew who Jim was, and he came with Linda Ronstadt as Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and people were going, "Who the hell is that guy?" He was like performing. I mean,
I wonder if he's always performing, if like in his personal life.
Yeah, there's probably an element of that the same way, because we spent a lot of time around Robin Williams too, when we would do Saturday Night Lives and did a bunch with him. And he was always, man, it was pretty intense. I mean, you got to be ready for guys like that.
I was at Lucasfilms at Skywalker Ranch,
the best.
probably 20 years ago, and I was taking a class in studio design, THX approved studio design. So I went out there. It was 2 weeks of my life. One of the most, at that point, I just immediately wanted to move to there and work for them.
Who wouldn't?
I mean, that Skywalker is just, it has to be experienced. I can tell you how funny it was because Robin Williams came into one of our classes in the theater there. So I'm sitting there with a bunch of audio people, and we're, of course, making fun of everything and everyone that we possibly could get within range of, find some deformity to pick at. And the guy next to me was from Utah, and he really didn't have much of a sense of humor like I do. In fact, my very existence bothers this guy probably to this day because I'm just a wild and crazy lunatic. And he would always bitch about the whole show. And I was just sitting there after a while. I was like, hey, man, I'm here to listen to them, not you. So why don't you, if you're going to talk through the fucking thing, go to the bathroom and talk in there because I'm trying to learn something here. Well, then Robin Williams walks in after Numbnuts came back. He's sitting in the back with George. Well, I looked at my friend and I go, hey, who's in the back? The big man and Robin Williams. So they're sitting there in the back watching this class unfold. And Robin starts heckling the guy teaching the class. He's like, tell me, what is that? Is that a THX approved mic? George, are you getting a dime out of this? How much are you getting off this mic? And he just goes into full Robin mode for 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There's nothing else.
And then the idiot next to me from Utah is pissing and moaning that Robin and George interrupted our class. I pretty much wanted to tell him nothing. I had to assume he had a room temperature IQ or below, because he wasn't getting any of the shit we were talking about, logarithmic progressions in math and K of sound. He was lost. He kept looking at my notes and trying to cheat on him. And I didn't care. I'm like, I purposely would write out a couple of the formulas wrong just to fuck with his head. It was funny to watch. He'd get about halfway through the formula and then I'd have erased mine and rewritten it. So I have a sick sense of humor. I tormented him for the whole stay.
Good.
It was good. I mean, we brought him to a club down in San Francisco. We drove all the way down, and we find this club, and there's a reggae band playing. So I played in a ska band for several years, and I heard this reggae group. I was like, oh, man, I got to hang and sit in with these guys. So I go up. I'm hanging. They said, sure, you can come on and play a song, white boy. And I ended up sitting in with them for like another hour or two. We got monstrously drunk. Had a great night, except for Numbnuts kept bitching at everybody. I want to go back to the hotel. It was on a Saturday night. We didn't even have a class the next day. And so we were all like...
Taxi cab.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we were just like, you're too much fun. I mean, really, I can't wait to invite you to my next party, I mean... How about we go to Vegas, you and me? I mean, the guy was just such a stick in the mud, no enthusiasm, just everything's negative. And I like that about you. I imagine that's partially why you get hired a lot. You're a funny bastard. You're good to hang with.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, so much of this business is relationships.
Yes.
I mean, I know a lot of players that are monstrous players that you don't want to spend 5 minutes with them. They're just a downer to be around.
Right.
So, if somebody's like that, then you have the option of just saying, I'm out of here,
Right.
But I'm just still relishing in the idea, man. I loved working up at Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
Did you meet Leslie Jones up there when you were?
We met him briefly, but as a group. I didn't get to really.
It's a girl. It's a girl.
Oh,
she's the
person.
chief engineer at Skywalker, and her father was Spike Jones.
Oh, I have read about her.
She's amazing. She's in the book. She's in the book.
Excellent.
But Skywalker, man, just that whole, the whole enterprise. And the thing that's amazing was historically that was known as Lucas Valley before George was ever involved.
Are you kidding?
Wow.
That's so weird.
No, that's really weird.
I mean, go ahead.
I found, or I read at one point back then when I had gone, that at some point, I guess him and the other big movie guy. I'm having a brain fart.
You mean Spielberg?
Jurassic Park.
Spielberg.
Spielberg. Yes, Steven Spielberg. I heard that. I don't know if it's true or not. Something I read, but they said that when George won, he had another 20,000 acres up on the mountain. And apparently, at some point, Steve Spielberg wanted to buy it. just so he could look over George's ranch. And from
Are you
what I've
serious?
read, it really pissed off George. They've been friends a long time.
Yeah.
But apparently he just got out his checkbook and like bought the property. And I mean, I have to say, world class, most amazing place I've ever been.
Yeah.
You've seen all the
Well,
networked rooms.
Oh no, it's
Cool.
well, the thing that was amazing, yeah, because George, we've been friends a long time, and when he bought that property, the first thing he did was he wrote a script to give it history, and the first thing that he said that the place was a winery. So that's why the tech building looks like a winery, and they planted vineyards around it and all that. And they built all of the buildings in the valleys so that when you looked over it, there was nothing obstructing views and all the subterranean, parking and stuff. But it was just the most mad. I did a bunch of projects up there with Linda Ronstadt and Jimmy Webb and different people. And,
no kidding.
And it was, I mean, I loved being up there and hanging out. And George was a great, and then you'd go to his offices and he had like Maxfield Parishes and Rockwells hanging on the walls and stuff.
Yeah. It was, for me, it was like one of my best experiences in my life.
That's great.
Spent 2 weeks immersed in audio and all, and I'm a musician, but I had to also try and, I've been doing all the jobs that anybody in a band who's out working and making a living. I've recorded bands, I've played, I've done session work, I've produced, I've engineered, I've just gotten in and done. But, that's how, people have to be pretty energetic. Everybody wants to be in a band until they have to start to do band things. And I can talk about it because so I'm going to ask you, I'm going to change gears a little bit. Tell me Jules, what is a normal day in the life of Lee Sklar like when you're home, like through COVID?
Well, I'm not much of a sleeper, so I usually go to sleep about 2 a.m. and I'm usually up about 5:30. I get up. I just stay busy all day. I work around the house. I mean, the book has really kept me occupied. I try to figure out what I'm going to do for my YouTube channel. I can fill a day really easily with lots and lots of projects. And I'm also one of these people that I'm by no means adverse to grunt shit labor. So like I'm happy to go out and be cleaning rain gutters, climbing tree trimming, doing all kinds of stuff. So I just there's an element of like ADHD and ADD and all that stuff in me. So I try to find lots of things to occupy my
we're
attention.
all in the same club, I think. The ADHD thing.
I'm not good with leisure time.
No. Cannot.
I'm not either. Vacation.
No, but for me, this is actually the first time in my entire career where I've actually recorded at home.
Wow.
Because when people used to say, oh man, can we send you some stems, just put some bass on, I would look at that as an opportunity to be social. So I would call a friend of mine who had a home studio, and that was an excuse to go eat lunch. So we'd go over and we'd throw a bass on something and then go out and have lunch. But with the pandemic, that's pretty much not happening. So a friend of mine named Gussie Miller contacted me, and they had some people, and they were going to do a cover of Easy Lover, Phil Collins.
Okay.
And they said, could you play on it? And I said, I'd love to, but I can't. I've never recorded at home or anything. And he had friends at SSL, so they sent me an SSL 2+ interface. And then I plugged in to GarageBand, which was plenty for bass, and called Steve Postel, who's one of the members of the immediate family, and he talked me through, how to do it, and all that stuff. And I just finished doing a couple of different albums for people. I haven't really opened that up that much to do because I got other things that I'm doing. But it's I'm just looking at all kinds of opportunities to do different things. During this period, because I should have been on the road the whole year, and hopefully, maybe by middle to late next year we'll be able to tour again. We'll see how things go with the vaccine and how serious people are about it. But right now, I would go to get it today if I could.
Me too. In fact, I've been trying to get on New Jersey's list to go and get it done. And of course, in typical New Jersey fashion, the website crashed immediately upon opening. And So, I've been like really in quarantine over a year. When I got out of the hospital 2 years ago, I'd been in the hospital for 8 months. My recovery went right up until COVID started. And when I got out, I thought, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to sit down and kick ass and do all this shit. Well, no. It took me a long time to get my strength back and, get my wits about me after, quitting drinking for a while. And it stuck. And all I can say is, I was really good at telling my bandmates, hey, man, I'll take you to AA. And, you think it can't happen to you, but it can happen to anybody. I just like to have a good time, hang with my friends, and I partied too much. Again, that was in the past.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
And, so in your course of a normal day, do you cook at home? Do you go out and eat a lot? What do you do?
There's a few restaurants around here where, my wife will cook, but but more than anything, she just goes, let's just have, CPK. Let's just get a pizza. Right. And it's just easy because everything's curbside pickups and stuff like that. So, but haven't been in a restaurant, this year. The last thing we did musically was we did a thing in February called the Rock Legends Cruise. And it went,
you did?
Yeah, we did from Fort Lauderdale to Grand Cayman and back. And it was Roger Daltrey and Nancy Wilson and Mark Farner and all these people. And they put the immediate family on the cruise.
Excellent.
And that was kind of it, man. That was the last live gig we played this year.
So
it's surreal. It's just surreal. But I'm, even though at this age, you don't want to squander a year.
No, right.
No.
Of course not.
No, you don't.
Any age.
Any age. But
You're
suddenly,
right.
like with all of us, everybody's in their 70s, so you kind of go, So I'm making the most of it so that we can get back on the road. And the fun part for me is, especially really the YouTube thing really took on a whole other thing. It was a total accident for me doing this channel. And they just did like a survey. They said like the top 100 shows in the world. And I came in 12 on the thing. I beat like Oprah and Howard Stern and all these people.
Oh, great.
And I've told the people, I said, when this is over and we can go out again, I said, I'm not stopping this. I said, I can only enhance it. Then I could take you on the road, introduce you to players on the road, do sound checks and shows, live stream and all that. So I found myself just entering another world completely that I never expected to be in. I mean, I love gigging. So
obviously, I've seen you play enough times. You're having a blast, and it shows. You're enthusiastic, and I don't know.
It's heaven. It's DNA. It's what it's all about. I was real happy this morning. I got my wife sent Phil Collins the review of my book from the LA Times, and he wrote back, oh man, it's great, I've got to buy one, what's the link and all this stuff. And I said, you're in it, dude. So
right.
So it's great. I mean, all kinds of stuff going on. I couldn't, we could always be happier, but I couldn't be happier right now.
I feel the same way. I really do. Life's blown up for me now that I'm seeing things clearly.
Good.
So, may I ask,
go ahead, Julie.
The link?
Please, you jump in, Julie, please.
What is the link to get your books, to order your books online?
It was weird. I've never had a website, so I had to put together a website. So I tried to get lelandsklar.com. Somebody had it. I looked up leesklar.com. Somebody had it.
Those bastards.
So I thought, rather than going and kissing somebody's ass and giving him some money to get my domain, my site is called lelandsklar'sbeard.com.
Yes, I was just looking at it actually and enjoying it. You have one of the better artist pages I've seen, and I mean that. I'm not bullshitting you. I really looked at it and I went, this is fun and good, well laid out, and obviously you have great tech who helped you. And
we're having fun with it, doing like the T-shirts and and then I've got a bunch of my artworks for sale on real high quality art prints and stuff like that. So there's lots of good stuff. And then once the book settles down, I mean, when we hang up today, I'm going to finish fulfilling all of my overseas books. get them to the post office today, and I can take a deep breath. We're going to be building the website because we have a great picture of this room where I do everything from, and we're going to make it so you click on things and there's going to be all kinds of doors opening that go other places and stuff. And we're going to make this really nuts.
That's cool. You know, George Gruhl did the same thing with his second book. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but I loved it. You know, in fact, you know, I got to say, when you first, I know you worked on several of Warren's albums.
Yeah.
Did you meet George through that, or did you know him prior? Were you guys in the same circling group?
No, I think I knew George through Warren through that period. And then a couple of years ago, we bumped into each other. This one of my neighbors every year would have a get together after the Rose Parade and before the game. And they would have like and all of a sudden I looked in there and George was there. And so we hung out at that. So it was great. And then we've been staying in much more constant touch, and he just sent me the newest book and stuff. And George is a good guy, man, really. And
absolutely
what he's done to keep Warren's spirit, you know, warm.
Yes.
It's great.
It is great. You know, I know my friend Brian McDonald knew him before I did, but that's how I got involved with starting with them the first Z-Con. And, you know, it was pretty good. We had a great time at the first one. The second one I went to, we rented a conference room so that we could have some of the Z-Von fans get together and jam. So I brought up a PA, put up a nice conference room, had a great time. You know, a lot of people are like family now. We got to hang out for that weekend. And then when we did the virtual one this year, it went great. Of course, like anything, we would have loved to have raised a shit pile of money for mesothelioma. But, you know, it's a hard time to ask people for money right now. People are desperate.
That's what's been like the hard part of doing the book is I managed to pick a time in history where money's really tight for people, you know, and I'm not charging a fortune for it, but it's still, the drag was like with overseas, it costs more to mail the book than the book costs, and going through all this shit on, you know, but everybody's considering everything they're doing because, and in a way, good. You know, I really hope that at the end of the day, when this is behind us, that people maybe have had a chance to reevaluate what's important in their lives and really what was not important. People, I don't feel sorry for them, but I think it's going to be tough, is all these, you know, these people that own office buildings that suddenly these people discovered they can do most of their work at home and don't need to be spending, you know, $40,000 a month for office space or something.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of empty space.
I think that is going to be the case. And sadly, I mean, I don't think New York will be the same for probably 10 years. It's just a real
it'll never be the same. I don't think anything will ever be the same. I think there's going to be quantum changes that some things will look similar, but a lot of things are you can't go through something like this and expect it to snap back to whatever normal was. It'll be a different kind of normalcy, but you want it to be good. You want people to be healthy, and you know, you want to see, you know, the world thrive.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's so unique because, like, you think back to Ebola and some of the other diseases that have come through that were somewhat isolated when they happened, and they could contain them and focus on. But to have something that's, you know, I mean, some of the finding natives that barely have left the Stone Age, you know, buried in these places, and then they go in and they find they've got it. Yeah. Now, how the hell does this happen? So
it is, it's unbelievable. You know, I read, when this all started, I had a lot of time on my hands prior to me writing, and I like to read a lot. So I decided, it's pandemic time. I'm going to read Stephen King's The Stand, unabridged publisher's version with extra. I have to tell you, after reading it, I was like, this was really shit timing to decide to reread this, because it made me realize in the book, I said this to several of my friends. I was like, you know, it got to the point where it just broke out, and we came to this many steps, and it just didn't get quite as virulent. It just wasn't. But like, we're here, we're right on the damn steps of everybody dying, and then having the
Zombie
stand.
land.
Zombieland or God only knows what, Hell, Bill Murray will get killed, by people breaking into his house. I love that movie when Bill was in it.
That's great. Dean Brown was the guitar player on Billy Cobham's tour.
Okay.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. So did you do that?
It's like a relief, isn't it?
Yeah, right? Sitting there waiting around.
I'll sleep tonight.
It's like taking a dump, man.
It puts a smile.
There we go. Look at that. You're a very handsome man.
I love you.
I think you're great.
I just love you to death.
I got a question for you.
Yeah,
that's
why I'm here.
Yeah, I'm curious. Do you after all the work you've done, like say with Waddy and all the guys you just known them, like they're like brothers. You guys ever just talk on the phone just to fuck around and talk, say hello, or is it pretty much you see each other working all the time? Cool.
Well, especially more during the pandemic, we've stayed in touch. I mean, we do a weekly Zoom with all of us, or we call each other. And like yesterday, I was talking to Cooch on the phone and Waddy because everybody's like freaking out over the fucked up state of what's going on and everything. But I feel really fortunate to be in a band with guys I've been working with for half a century, and we've never had words between us. Everybody respects each other and gets on great. We have differences of opinion when we're working on songs, but it's approached professionally the way we've always worked together. And it's not like when you hear about all these groups where they all hate each other and they travel in separate buses and they get in fist fights. Man, we've never experienced that ever. And it's a unique situation to be in because I think it's pretty rare in this business to have kind of like this brotherhood. Now we don't see each other that often because we don't live like real close to each other. But like, we're close enough to when we need to do things, we can get together. We did 2 live streams this past year and did them really safely and everything. So it was great. We got together and rehearsed and got our stuff together for it and put the set together and went and played. And we just all keep calling each other going, can't wait to get on the road. Can't wait. Because we miss it. This is really we do. And everybody's so creative within. It's a very fertile group. And the thing that's also great about it is there's a lot of bands that have been together a long time and they'll go hit the road and it becomes another one of those nostalgia tours where they're really relying on stuff they did in the 80s or something like that. Where for us, it's all new material. The guys are writing constantly. And so this is like, and there was another thing that just came out where it was really interesting. They did this big survey and I came out as the #1 like cast, that's whatever's going or bass video. I came in that, but one of the other criterias was the band to look out for in 2021, and it was the immediate family.
So
I
heard of it, I just loved it, and the video I saw that George sent to me, I was just like, I love it. I was also at that point hoping, I'm going to see these guys. I know they'll be in New York at some point. And
we had so much fun when we played the Iridium a few times and wanted to go back there, but needless to say, nobody's doing it. But yeah, the band is so much fun because we've been together on stage so long that there's just like telepathy between us.
Right.
So good for you.
It's very organic. And Cooch would introduce things and you would say, because especially the first album that we did was because of Danny Korchmar. He got a record deal with a label in Japan called Vivid Records. And so what he ended up doing was taking a bunch of the songs he had written with other people like Dirty Laundry and All She Wants to Do Is Dance and New York Minute and Machine Gun Kelly, all these songs. And so when we started working, he would say that we're a cover band that only plays originals.
I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was funny stuff. But everybody's good. Just anxious, ready to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. You just can't stop. It's all the time. And our friend Frank Manzi says, new material, yay! Thank you, Frank, for the shout out.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. We love having you on, and give my regards to Angelo. We have Frank Manzi from Long Meadow, Mass. He's a wonderful songwriter.
Great.
And when I have him on the show, his dad is about 80 years old, and Angelo is great. We've had him on the show now 3 times. Every time I have Frank on, I go, well, you got to bring Pop, because they sing together on the show. And
that's great.
It's so much fun. And even the people in the audience, they're just like, wow, that is like the best show. Because Frank he's an excellent songwriter.
That's the stuff that's cool. That's the stuff. One of the great drummers is Greg Bissonette.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I used to joke about it. People would, I would say, I always wondered, why do people hire Greg so much? He's okay. And then I said, then I discovered what it was. It was his father, Bud, because his father did his cartage for him. And Bud was the best. And we always had these jokes, like people only hire Greg to play drums so that Bud can come and hang out.
Come along, right, and hang.
Yeah.
I love it.
He was the coolest guy, man. I loved Bud. Yeah, he passed years ago, but man, when you pull up and you'd see the van there, and oh, Bud's here. How cool! So
that's great. That's awesome.
But Greg is a monstrous drummer.
Yeah, he is. They're all drummers are equal except for him and Billy. They're a little more equal than most people.
That's I'll tell you, if I have to look back on my career, I think the greatest blessing I've had in this whole career is the amount of musicians I've been able to play with. Not so much even the artists, but the other players on it. So to be able to work with like a Billy Cobham, and then Jim Keltner and Jim Gordon and Vinny Colaiuta and every one of them has such a unique quality, and to have spent 50 years with Russ Kunkel, is like, it's amazing. And then all the guitar players and keyboard players and stuff. So I always kind of feel that's been like the greatest bonus. Like the artists kind of come and go over the years, but a lot of the players that I'm working with, would be working with at this moment, are guys I started in the business with, and it's pretty cool, the familiarity.
That's such a great feeling too. We all know a musician, when you have that fraternity on stage and you have that mind meld. You can look at the drummer and he'll be listening to you, and sometimes you might just accent something. Like you said, every drummer has a little different feel and a style that people hire them because of their ability to do that accent off of you in a tasteful fashion. I know myself, when I was a young guy, I overplayed all the time. I had a big, huge drum kit, gongs, all kinds of shit. And now, I don't want to carry that much, number one. And even if I had roadies, I don't need it all. It's about just relaxing and playing for the song. And I guess, what advice would you have? That's my advice to people. If they're in a new situation, what do you tell some of these young guys?
Get as much gear as you possibly can and play it all.
There you go.
Are you endorsing who?
I remember Hal Blaine told me about a gig he did in San Diego where there was a young bass player on the gig. And he said, this kid whipped it out, man. He just for the whole gig, he just did. And he came up to Hal afterwards and he said, so what do you think? And Hal looked at him and he said, I think we need a bass player.
Oh man, I would cringe, man. That was just a total, definitely, man.
No, to me, it's hard to give advice because the world's changing so much. I think just hone your craft. Like a lot of guys ask me, they go, well, do you have to be able to read music? And I go, well, no, but it depends what you want to do. If you want to do studio work or legit work, you have to be able to read music. But there's a lot of people who have had, like Pino Palladino can't read music. He's one of the greatest bass players in the world. You have good ears, find what you enjoy. Especially at a time like this where you can't be playing with other players, find records and music that you like and learn it and play it just to keep your chops up. And but gear's not everything. No. It's this. It's not like going out and buying this and the coolest. But you just but for everybody's approach is different to how they want to be perceived in music, what they want to do with music. Some people are very very committed to like a genre.
Right.
Like I just want to play reggae. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's great. Then just be really great at that. If you have aspirations of doing other things, though, like studio work, you really have to be not necessarily a master of one, but you have to be adept at a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I can bullshit my way through a lot of different genres that aren't necessarily my comfort zone, but I know them well enough to pull something off that somebody else might go, oh, that's great. That's really good. And I'm, if it was a reggae thing, I go, it's not Sly and Robbie. It's not the guys who wrote the book.
Man,
exactly. But it's enough for the record that we need to do. So, but just, there's so many options within music. And also, this is the worst time for it. But the best thing is to hook up with other people. It's a social thing. And you find people that you like to play with, that you have a like mind and similar interests, and then start playing together as much as you can. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, I had no idea I was going to have a career in music. That wasn't where I was headed because of happenstance in one afternoon and being in a band, and James Taylor came to our rehearsal because of a friend of a friend. And next thing I know, his career starts taking off, and he remembered me from a rehearsal. They called me and changed my entire life. So you just don't know.
That's great.
You have no idea what's going on, but be open to things, and have, you can have both thick and thin skin through things, because there's a lot of rejection, and don't take that to heart. You've got to be able to just go, okay, they don't dig me, but I know what I'm doing. I just got to find a better vehicle for what I do. But just enjoy it. God, I mean, you think of how many shit jobs there are in the world, and to be able to play music. Yeah. What a gift.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Look at all the band people out in the the lower echelon of the music business. They're slaving away every week, 6-7 nights a week, and now it's all gone. A lot of people down in the lower end of things will think, oh, all these rich rock stars, they're not having problems, but it's not true, because you have a certain amount of, you have income and you have assets, but you're used to making a living at a certain amount of coming in each year. So all of a sudden, within 1 year, your whole economic life is turned inside out. Well, it's not just,
Yeah, but not only that, it doesn't matter where you are on the pay scale. The thing that's satisfying is the music.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
And for that to be taken away, it's hitting the major artists just as hard as it's hitting the guys that are just trying to get started in clubs, because the thing that's your life's blood has been taken away.
Right.
And regardless of what the paycheck is at the end of the day, or the size of the venue.
It's like you shrivel up and die inside when you can't be creative every single day and perform every day. And it just doesn't take long before that's just God, what do you do? It's like you're locked up inside. I need to be free. I need to go play.
It's really, that's the biggest challenge of this period is holding on to that fire while things are just kind of smoldering. This forest fire turned into a peat bog. There's still heat underneath, but
it's crazy.
And there is no, this is what was pissing me off. Like, Sammy Hagar kind of said this the first time, and then this bullshit that just went on with Clapton and what's his name, but saying we got to open the venues, we got to have live music again, and let's get out there and work. Fuck this shit. And I'm thinking, you are such a profound asshole, because who's the safest person at the venue?
You,
Sammy. You're gonna show up. You're gonna maybe be tested. You're gonna walk to your spot on the stage. You're gonna do your show. You're gonna leave. What about all the people that are shoulder to shoulder for hours waiting for your show? So you don't really give a shit about them. You just want to be out there for your ego working, rather than being responsible.
Right.
And I mean, it's hideous waiting to work again, but it's more hideous to go out and cost somebody their life.
It'll be a hard thing to deal with, knowing that, and like you said, I think a lot of reflection and internal dialogue people have had time to really think. And sometimes, I just think being isolated from people, some people have mental health issues out there who had it tough before any of this crap hit.
Well, that's the A&R guys.
Oh, I'll bet. They're like ready to hang themselves, I know they're all like, they're probably, I don't know, heading to, 12-step meetings just to try and.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it's a tough time, and the main thing is to be alive at the end of it.
Yes.
That is the goal.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's a tough time, though.
So where can we catch your schedule of when you're performing, even online or doing anything online, or same place?
Well, I'll tell you what. I would encourage people to go to the immediate family Facebook page. I mean, we're on all the social media platforms.
Right.
So anything that's going to happen, or any accolades or any of the stuff that's happening for the band will be there. And we also have an immediate family YouTube channel. And we've got videos up there. We did a bunch of acapellas early on, and stuff. And we've got our 3 videos that we've shot this year up there, and the EPs I think are up there, and the live album that we did in Japan. So there's stuff. So I would just say, just investigate the immediate family, and then there's links to all of us on that page going off to everybody else's pages.
Excellent. I have one more question that comes to mind. Tell me, do you still use your monster bass? Frankenstein.
Can I see, please?
Oh, he's going to pull it right up. Shit, yeah.
Oh, my God.
For those who don't know much about it, gosh almighty.
God. You have that insured, right?
Yeah, it's homeowners insurance or whatever. But this, there's Oscar the Grouch in the middle when we did.
Oh, I love it.
He says he wrote, play that rotten music.
Tell me, do you just, is that still your go-to bass? I mean, when you walk into a studio?
Well, when I go to work, like on the road, this is my road bass, my Dingwall.
Right.
With fan fretting and all that stuff.
Nice. Beautiful.
This is a signature model. Then I've got I got 3 basses that are my main instruments. I'll grab the other one here. It's a Warwick.
Oh yeah.
Yay.
Andy, you're the Warwick King, man. I miss you, buddy. Oh, Lord have mercy. Look at that thing. For anybody who doesn't know about Warwick basses, I have to say the fact that Lee's holding one of the most beautiful ones I've ever seen.
Well, this is good. This has my deluxe producer switch on it too. So if you don't like the sound, let me see.
Oh, you can change. Oh, nice.
Yeah, you change. It goes around, and the LED will give you different sounds. And if you don't like any of them, then it gives you the finger.
Now that I have to tell you, that is by far the coolest bass I've ever seen.
Yeah, and
I need that.
And it doesn't do anything. It's only lights and a battery. But but it's a placebo. So if like some producer starts giving me shit going, can you make it shimmer a little more when they then I say, well, check this out, and I give them some options. But what I do is I just play in different positions so they hear something different. But it saves me a lot of aggravation.
Absolutely.
But it started as this bass. These are beautiful basses, these Warwick Star basses.
Oh yeah.
Which is,
oh my God.
Gosh, the things are gorgeous.
Yeah, they're really beautiful instruments. I hooked up with Warwick a few years back. So each of these basses has a unique sound to it. So it's not like I'm whoring myself out trying to hustle gear for companies and stuff.
No, right.
But at one point, Steve Bailey and Jonas Hellborg and I we were doing a bass trio called Jostle. So it was Jonas, Steve Lee, and we were doing that for Warwick. But we were going to form a group on the side called Gear Horror.
Oh, and I love it. What a great name.
And we were going to dress like F1 drivers and have like stickers all over us, and like each of our basses, each string would be from a different company, When we go on the road, each guy would travel a different airline, stay in a different hotel chain. But we were going to just amass it. It was all about quantity versus quality. And then what we would do is at the end of the year, we would sell everything by the pound. So it didn't matter what you were buying. It was all by the pound. And then we would start whoring all the companies again for more gear the next year.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that.
I don't know, man. At some point, you could actually start going into retail.
Well, I'll tell you, the books really trained me about retail. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah?
Is there a big master?
Didn't work well for publishing for you, eh?
Well, no, it's worked unbelievably well, but with COVID and everything, I've had to do every step of the thing myself, and it's just overwhelming. I've had zero time to relax. I mean, I've got a hot rod sitting in the garage. I haven't driven yet in a year. I just got and started, but there's no time to go cruising or doing anything. And
what have you got?
I got a tea bucket. I got it originally in 1976. It's a 23 T, but it weighs about the same as a smart car, and it's 1,000 horsepower.
Oh,
so it definitely tighten that sphincter muscle up real good.
I'll bet it would. I have to tell you, I like fast cars, but gosh darn, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's a beast. It's a beast. But at some point now, I'm getting close to having some time for myself, because like out here in LA, I mean, the weather's been really beautiful. Watch other parts of the country, and you see people buried in snow. Or I talked to my sister up in Montana, and they're all snowed in and stuff.
Right.
So, LA's we need rain, but I mean, it's been beautiful.
I'm in Tampa, so we've had some little cold, a little warm in the middle.
Yeah, but at least it's temperate and not,
that's right.
8 degrees or something like that, and sliding down a hill because of black ice or something like that.
Right. Oh, even trying to walk on it. Yeah, absolutely. We had only one snowfall this year, but I had the same crap because I live on the side of a mountain, and the wind off the ocean just blows like a son of a bitch. And the ice on the road, they had plowed it and done all that crap. But the next day I came up the hill and I saw it like a little too late, and my back wheels were just like zzz, driving a Jaguar, and I went up, and I usually at that point in the hill kind of goose it a little bit just because I know my neighborhood. It just feels good it's a nice mountain road for about 100 feet. So I usually just right at that crest of the hill, I kind of goose it. But that day I was like, oh, geez, it's like, not good. But
it can be real scary. It can be real scary when you're out of control.
Yes. Have you ever hung around with Billy Gibbons and show him your car?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, I know he's an aficionado.
He hadn't seen the car. The funny one for me is like every time I see Jeff Beck, the first thing he does is he comes up and he goes, Stratus. Because he always plays Stratus in his show. And then we talk about cars. But excellent. I hung out with Billy, because Billy's in the book, and we were on a cruise together and stuff, and we talk cars. But man, they've Cadzilla and stuff. They had some amazing cars.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, he's quite the character. A hell of a,
he's great.
Like
I'll tell you the funniest thing was, my wife and I were involved with an organization called Canine Companions for Independence, which raises and places service dogs. And so the last time we had a big fundraiser, I contacted Billy and Sheryl Crow and Willie Nelson, a whole bunch of people, and they all sent instruments for the auction.
Oh, great!
And everybody sent like an autographed picture, but Billy was in Europe at that time, and so I went online to download a picture of Billy just to frame and put it with the guitar. And while I'm going through this stuff there, I see that there's a big article about Dusty Hill on it. So I thought I'm going to go see what they're saying about Dusty. And so I clicked on the thing, and it opened up, and it's all about Dusty Hill. And then it comes down a little farther into the article, and it's a picture of me.
What?
Yeah, they just saw some guy with a bass and a beard, and they just probably and I did a screenshot and sent it to Billy, and then he wrote back in the biggest fonts he could find, just said, ha, 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 ha.
God damn. I mean, that is really funny.
It was great. It was
It's
great.
one of those things, again, check your work, people. If you're sending stuff out, check it.
Yeah.
Look at it. Read it. Get out a dictionary. Jesus, that is too funny.
Yeah.
And as a media person, I can tell you it happens so
Oh,
much
yeah.
more than you know. And you have to
Yeah.
catch it right before it goes on the air live. You know, that's why you have 7-second delay.
Exactly. Well,
Swearing.
I got one good thing to show you here. Hold on just a
Okay.
second. I don't know if you
Oh,
saw
you're
it
gonna
on
stand up or what?
Hey, take it easy, big fella.
Yeah.
You're asking way
I
too
love
much of
this
the poor
guy.
man. You're asking way too much of the poor man on the first
I
interview.
know. He's going to tell everybody else, never go on this show.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, like, if you go to look for the book, you can also order this.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. I got to have one. That is great. Julie, I want to get you one. It'd be great. You'll be like some Amish woman.
Dude, we could do perfectly with the green screen.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
Excellent. I love
So
that shirt.
Those are on the same website as the book.
Okay,
right.
cool. Right
Great.
on.
Well, are you guys going to do any press for the immediate family coming out?
We're doing stuff constantly.
Great.
And we're still working on the documentary film and everything. I mean, everything's moving forward. We're getting really great press. We've got, still material coming out and stuff, but it just kind of went from the race where we were the hare and now we're the tortoise. Everything's just slowed down and it's more methodical now and safe. And we're doing things that don't require being together all the time. But like tomorrow morning is our management band Zoom. We do it every Friday morning at 11 o'clock, and we just sit and talk about game plans and all kinds of stuff. So there's lots going on with it. It's just a matter right now. It's just a matter of staying safe, because if you go out and get, especially in LA, I mean, they're to the point now where like ambulances, if they pick up somebody who's like been in a car accident, they might be in that ambulance for 8 hours before there's a room available for them. All the hospitals are at over 100% capacity. I mean, they've got gurneys in the gift shops and stuff at the hospital.
That's horrible.
They're building tents and stuff. So the main thing is just don't put yourself in harm's way at this point.
Right.
Be safe. You want to be here when it's over.
Well, I'm thrilled that you came on to talk to us. I hope you'll come back again sometime when you're touring. Like, I'd love to. I want to talk to Waddy eventually too. And
no, you
don't.
You don't.
No. Right.
He'll just talk about him and not talk about you. And
oh God, we don't want that.
No,
it's terrible. That's what
we're about.
Yeah, right. Well,
you've been so much fun.
You have been great fun.
Great, man.
And if I could, I asked you earlier, can I get you to give us a shout out so we can use it for the future?
Now exactly how am I shouting this out? What's the best way to do it?
You're going to say, hi, I'm Lee Sklar and I'm live with Neve.
It's Knees?
Yes, as in Neil Ernest Van Erde is my name.
Okay.
And it's also a console, everybody's got in their back room.
Well, that's Neve.
Yeah.
Yes,
Neve.
that's what it is, Neve.
But I am the real Neve.
So it's Neve?
Yes.
Okay, because my phone, just want to make sure. Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my life.
I am too, man. I can't thank you enough, buddy.
Sure you can.
Well, you know what? At least when we hook up, if you're in New York or if I'm in LA, I was hoping to be out for NAMM, but as we know, that's not happening. Yeah. I'm at the point now, I don't know where it's going to be or if it'll ever. It's so weird. I mean,
well, it's all. I've done 2 virtual things for NAMM with Mr. Bonsai and with Don Famularo. And I think they're just going to have a whole bunch of stuff going virtually.
Right. I just signed up actually for that to see it. And I sent you a link, Julie. I don't know if you got it, but at any rate, there's a bunch of cool stuff happening on the NAMM site. And since we can't be there,
I'll miss it
too.
That's like, to me, I don't need any gear. I go there, just to see people and hang. And
Yeah.
it's really, I've hardly ever missed one. So it's really sad to think of it not happening. Just like the Grammys aren't happening. And we every year do the pre-Grammy show, which is an amazing show. So much better than the shitty Grammy show.
Right.
And that's not happening. I don't know if the Oscars are going to happen this year or it'll be some weird virtual thing. So,
yeah. Well, I hope you have a great day. And one of these days, if I'm in LA, I'll bring some treats for the dogs.
That would be fantastic. You could get your basset fix over here.
Yeah, man. I need a basset fix periodically. I'm kind of like you. If I see one in town when I'm out walking around, I'm like, oh, come here. You get, hey there, big boy. I just fall apart. I love my animals.
It's heaven. It's just heaven. You too, Julie, if you get out here.
Same here.
Definitely. Well, if NAMM occurs, she'll be there, and I'll be there, and hopefully a lot of our friends will be there. I know. This whole thing, I've been wanting to go out to LA and see some friends, and Nashville, the same thing. And I'm stuck. And I've been in quarantine since 2 Septembers ago. I was really sick.
Boy, the
then I got better.
went to hell.
Oh, it was just a horror show. But I'm still alive, and I will tell you, I'm staying safe. I don't go out and screw around.
Our sound just crapped out.
Okay. Right, thank you.
All right, guys. Well, Julie, thanks again, Lee, and we'll see you next time. And we're going to roll on out of here, everybody.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next